let's start by clicking on your profile, because a lot of you wonder how they get their picture on there. So if you go into the right top corner right here, you can just simply click on yourself, and right here, upload photo. And you could change it if periodically, whatever. You could just upload your photo right here. If you need to access any information pertaining to your credentials with us, you have those tabs over here. Like you could always update your contact information. If you want to look at your ICA, that's right here under paperwork. Activity button, I'm going to show you real quick. If you ever need to run your production, you could do that here as well. You just quickly click on activity and then transaction reports, and then you to look your production history. Stacey, am I missing anything here?
I just wanted to go back to the contacts tab. Make sure you guys update your information, especially if you've moved. And then also shoot me an email if you've moved too, because I want to be able to change it in QuickBooks as well. So you can definitely change any of this just by going to that edit contact info on the right.
Just click on edit contact info and you could update your address. It's important, especially this time of year, just because Stacey's working so hard on the 1099s and want to make sure those reach you successfully. So we rely on you for that. You will see an email come out from us here in a couple of weeks reminding you, please update your address. It's very, very important. So I'm going to go back to the Start tab. In this little tutorial, we'll go tab by tab, teaching you just the essentials of the system, and we're going to focus primarily on how to upload documents, run a transaction from start to finish, getting paid. That's the most important essence. But before we get there, let's quickly navigate through the system just so you get an overall idea. It's very robust, it's very intuitive, it's really cool, it's linked to Armless, it's a fun system. I'm going to start by pointing out on the calendar over here. All activities, including items related to your transactions, classes, those are going to be on this calendar. Look at this. We have classes every single week. Isn't that amazing? So simply click on that calendar. You have the opportunity to add an event yourself if there's something that you don't want to forget about. So please get used to using the calendar. It is great. Hey, next week is Straight Talk with the Brokers. It's one of my most favorite events. Please join us. It's great. We talk about hot topics that are really pertaining right now. The only thing that could happen is learn. So I would say join us for that class. So now that I'm done here, see that banner over here, you guys? Here you get to see the Connect. Thank you, Jamie. Looks beautiful. You could kind of scroll through, and this is Ross Murray with Neighborhood Loans. You can click and connect with them right away. Don't miss Workshop Wednesdays with Jamie. These are our girls over at Great American, Republic, etc. Oh, this class with Faye Humphrey is phenomenal. That's on Tuesday mornings. Do not fail to join. It's a lot of fun, a lot of learning. And DeLex Broker Hotline, here's the number if you need it. Of course, you get our cell phone numbers. You can call us, text us anytime. We're here to help, and we find pure joy in that. So I'm going to navigate through the next steps. Transactions is where you submit your transactions. We're going to leave that for last. Listings is just when you click here, you're going to see company listings. People, that's an important one, primarily because you may need to find somebody's contact information. Let's say Stacy, you need to call Stacy because you're missing a check or you're looking for a check, but you do not have her number. You simply put her name, Stacy, and boom, there she is. And you could actually send her an email straight from the system. Or the best, you could also call her. Cell phone number is right below. So, and see how it tells you. It even can tell you that she's already locked in the system, working. So under People's tab, you could find everybody and anybody that's part of our company. Office tab, you're going to use quite a bit. This is where you find a lot of important documents. So when you click on Office and then you click on Documents, you see a long list. Now, we do not have the transaction desk and zip forms here. That is something we're working on. Hopefully we'll have that within the first of the year, 2021. But here you're gonna find a lot of other helpful information. And just at first glance, look at this. You have our company W-9. I'm sure you're gonna need that. You have a bunch of different logos. You have business card designs. These are PowerPoint designs that are very easy to navigate and use and customize. Here's some FERPTA information. There's a letterhead if you need one. But I'm going to start from top. They're all labeled accordingly. So agent forms would be forms that you will need. Often we are put in a situation where we need to maybe contribute a portion of our commission. You have the commission discount form right here for you. See, contract cancellation, earnest money at disposition. The FHA pamphlet, again, more FERPTA information, the HUD home information, it's all in here. If you're in a situation where a buyer has to waive the clue, or so-called, actually it's so-called clue, but it's history insurance claims report, you click over here. We also have a waiver for spuds in here as well. Stacy, anything to point out in the agent forms?
Nope, not in the agent forms.
Yeah, so if you have a referral, we do have outgoing and incoming referral. Of course, you could use the form that AAR has provided us with. We just have it here for your convenience, that's all. Back agent training forms, self-explanatory client forms. Now, these are important, so pay attention for a moment. The most important form here that you will use quite a bit is the updated affiliated business disclosure. It usually says updated because every so on, we have to update it. This is the brand new one. We just updated it last month. So that form you will need with every sale transaction. What does it mean? It's simply a disclosure. All you're doing here is disclosing to your client that these are our trusted professionals. There is absolutely no obligation for you or for your client to use those vendors. The signature is simply acknowledgement the information has been presented, and that we do to stay in compliance with RESPA rules and regulations. So that's why we need this form. Now, there's a lot of helpful forms here, like the pre or post possession. We do not want to see any of those, but when it occurs, we have the forms for you. And of course, what else here is important?
Where's the W-9?
The W-9 would be at the very bottom. Yeah, that's out. You know, we're right now in client forms. W-9 is on its own, in its own category. But you will need that, especially if you're doing a rental. That will come up when you represent a tenant. So, any questions about these forms?
No.
No? All right, Helen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's that. So let's move on to the next tab. That would be marketplace. And it's kind of, once again, self-explanatory. I mean, frankly, the system is so easy. I mean, it's fun and you can just play with it all you want, but this is kind of like a little marketing area and you're going to find all sorts of different designs. Flyers is where I usually go. I think most agents go there just because not only we need them for open houses, but also for our social media. What's great about this part of the system is, first, the flyers are very crisp, elegant, and modern. So this is not something generic or old looking. They're really cool. Also, as I said, the system's linked to Armless. So if you have any listings that are currently active, or these are actually under contract, but they pop up. So you could actually select the listing, and the system will pull data straight from Armless, and pictures will appear in the order they are on Armless. The text will come up in the order it is on Armless. You could customize it once the information is gathered on the flyer. You will have the opportunity to change anything and everything. You could also do a flyer for a listing that is not your own listing. If we go back, if we go back, you see that area, you could just copy paste an MLS number and proceed. Well, actually, those are not going to work. But when you do that, because it's not your listing, a little window is going to pop up and it's going to ask you, do you have permission to proceed? So you just have to click yes, and then the same process will occur where the data comes from Armless. You could change it accordingly. So it's really cool. At the end, once you're done with your final product, you have two options. You could either save it as a PDF for printing. You could save it as JPEG for social media. Again, great, use it all the time. What's also amazing here is already has all the, it fits all the requirements, so you do not have to worry about, oh my gosh, is the logo right? Is the fair housing on? It's already here. So see, it's already here and it's easy. And if you need to change anything, you could just click on this little pen and let's say I'm gonna get rid of my PLC part if I want to. So And the pictures, you could upload pictures that you may have on your computer, or you could actually organize them the way they come from Armist. That's the way they come from Armist. You could kind of shift them around to make this more pleasing to the eye. All right, so that's that. And then Learn tab. Remember that one as well. What's cool about this one, we'll go over a lot today, and you will not remember everything, and that's okay, because it's all here for you. First, this whole session is on YouTube, thanks to Jamie. It's under, when you go to YouTube, you look for DeLex Realty Phoenix, and you'll find it, and then you will find a back agent overview training on there. But also you could just quickly go under the Learn tab and click on back agent overview and look at all these wonderful videos you get. They're very short, they're very easy. See, it tell you how to start a transaction. I would skip this part. How to set up the mobile app. There's a whole training. I mean, it's 25 minutes. I mean, there is so much here that can teach you. See how to change the primary agent. These are important moments that will come up, and you would wonder what to do. Of course, you could call us anytime, but also look for that Learn tab. It's there for you. All right. I hope I'm not missing anything. Stacy, help me out, because now I'm going to click on the Transactions tab. Okay, so when you click on Transactions tab, you will see your transactions. I can see right now other agents' transactions. You will see your transactions. If you do not have any transactions, this would just be blank. You won't see anything aside from this information to the side without a transaction, and of course these tabs over here. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a listing, and we're gonna take that listing through the contract stage, and then we're gonna close it out and get paid. So let's get started by uploading our listing. So all you need to do is look onto the right-hand side and click on this orange button that says Add a Transaction. So we're gonna add the transaction this way. We're gonna click there, and then you have the opportunity to select through these important categories. Residential will be for all residential properties. Apartment or managed building, that would be for property management. So if it's not a property management file, you do not have anything to do here. Commercial will be for commercial zone properties, and referral only would be in the event where it's simply a referral agreement. And that would be all you need to put in if you ever have to put in a referral, which I'm certain you will. Now, a lot of times agents would say, but where's land? Well, land would either be residential, either commercial. So you will upload it accordingly. So if it's residential, you click here. If it's commercial, you click here. Today, we're gonna do a single detached home. That will be residential. We're gonna click on residential. And then the system is gonna ask us, is this a sale or sale listing, or is this a lease or lease listing? So we're gonna do a sale today. And then these would be the modes of a transaction. Start is when you have a client, but you don't have anything executed. Excellent place to start, just so you could get going and put your client's information.
You would add a buyer broker agreement here right away too, if you have that, because those are time sensitive. So
Correct.
if you need, you're just shaking hands and you have that buyer broker agreement, upload it in the start phase so that we can review that right away for you guys.
Yes, that happens often where when we review, we'll see a late buyer broker, and I will, have to make the comment that it's late just because, it's part of our job and we need to stay in compliance with ADRE rules. And agents will be, oh my gosh, but I didn't have a contract. Where do I put it? Well, this is where you put it. In fact, what we also tell agents is, if you don't know what forms pertain to a transaction, start your transaction in back agent, because back agent will build a checklist for you, and we'll get there here in a little bit. So start is that very, very beginning stage of a transaction. Showing is when you're searching for a property. This also could be an excellent area to start with the buyer broker, or usually that's where you click to start a listing. Contract is when the property is under contract. So when you have a buyer, usually start from contract, and you will see the modes. They remain on the transaction, and you will navigate through them to complete a transaction. Pre-closing is right before close of escrow, very important. This is where you need to submit your funding request to get paid. As you know, we want to pay you directly from escrow, and that's why turning in paperwork on time and submitting your funding request on time is very important. And Post-closing is after the fact, after the property is closed. Usually at that stage, you've received your check. We're about to receive ours. At this stage, you will upload your final HUD settlement. And once Stacy receives the DeLex check, she will file this transaction as closed. So let's click on the showing mode right now to proceed with our listing. The next step will ask you, is this a buyer or a seller? Well, we're going to go with the seller because we're going to take a listing. And then it's going to ask us to select our client's name. Today, our client's name will be Test. And by the way, play with the system because that's the only way to learn. You just have to keep on uploading items and starting transactions. I would say when you do that, please just say Test because it's really easy for us, when we review files, we can just skip it or delete it. So we don't have to worry going through the process of uploading a file that's actually not a real file. So once we've put in our client's information, we'll click on Select Contact.
The nice thing about the system, if it's a repeat client, they'll automatically show up in your database. So you can just select your client again, which is nice. All their information is there.
It's all here. Yeah. And then all that we have to do right now is create new transaction. Now, just one thing to point out. If you believe you might have made an error, look at these check marks. It gives you an opportunity to change. So if you think you made an error and this is actually a commercial, not a residential transaction, you can simply click on change to write that. Go ahead. Okay, I thought someone has a question. All right, so let's click on create new transaction. And now our transaction will be created. And this is what transactions look like in Backage. And isn't this wonderful? Everything is color coordinated. It pulls data straight from our list. You see that in a little bit when we select a property. And anything orange, by the way, the color orange of warning, that means an item is missing. Anything gray here means everything's satisfied. So far, the beginning stages of this transaction looks good, but we're missing the property. We're missing answers in dates and info, and we're missing 4 documents based on what the system knows so far. So we're gonna start with the first orange tab, which is property.
I like to go in order too, guys. If you go in order, you'll find that you'll have everything done correctly. So go from to left to right.
It's easier. Also, a lot of times I see agents, they remain in start mode, but they're at the final stage of a transaction and they haven't done any of the tabs aside from the documents. And when closing comes, you have to go back to the contract to see, oh, when was that contract executed? But if you do it all on time and in order, it's so easy to plug in everything. And the way you will answer the questions in dates and info, that's how your checklist will form for the transaction under the documents tab. So going in order, as Stacy said, is very important. So now we're going to set the property. We're going to use a property that is currently on the MLS. You simply click on where it says set property over here to the right. Now you have 2 options, the MLS, which we're going to use right now, or basic info. Not every property will be on MLS. So if it's a property that is some form of an exclusive listing or not listed on the MLS, then you're going to go here and you're going to enter basic info, which would be, 123 East Elm Street, etc., etc. It's in here. In this case, we're going to pull something straight from MLS. You could look by MLS number or by address. I personally have a hard time remembering MLS numbers. It's easier for me to remember an address. So that's how I do it. Stacy, do we have an address or you want me to come up with
an
something?
MLS number for you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, today we're gonna go with an MLS number. Let's do it.
614-9359.
All right, and then we click on this search button over here and give it a moment and boom, we found it. Campobello. Of course, you make sure it's the right property. See how it already has the lister name and the company name. You will click on select listing. And final step here will be set property. Now, if you believe you've missed something or it's an error, you could go back and change it. By the way, even after you set the property, you could still go back and change it if you've selected the wrong property, which happens with condominiums quite a bit because they're all looking the same. It's the same address, maybe different unit number. So if you ever run into that, just quickly click right here, edit property, and you could edit that. So at this preliminary stage of the transaction, the contact is satisfied. Usually that will light up a little bit later for us, and we'll have to come in to put the buyer information, the buyer's agent information, if there's any vendors, and the title agent information. Right now, the system already knows who the agent inputting the information is, and I already put in the buyer's name. So the seller's name, forgive me. So at this particular stage, there's not a whole lot to do aside from this. If there's not another seller, so if there's like two people that own the property, you could add the other person by clicking on add seller. Or if you have a partner in this transaction, you could simply click on add partner, and you could put in the agent that's co-listing with you.
And that's important to do, especially if you guys are going to be splitting commissions. Add him as a partner, because then we can pay him as a partner on the payout. And we'll show you that when we get to that part as well.
All right.
You can also share the transaction with your partner with that big share button right there, and give them full access to your.
Well, let's show it. So I can put Stacy as my partner. She's my favorite partner of all times. Well, it's true. Where did you go, Stacy? Right here. And then I can click on share transaction. And right now I'm showing as primary, but I can change that. Okay, what's happening, Stacy? Update shares.
I don't know what you did.
Okay, let me do this real quick.
So you should go.
Why didn't do it? Missing someone.
I think
maybe it's taking time to
go back to share transaction.
Yeah.
And it should just have you.
Usually they pop up over both people.
Right. I don't know why.
Let's try again. Let's try again in a little bit. Sometimes the system just needs a moment. So maybe that's the case. So
anyways, this is where you could share somebody if you need to. You can share with them, and you can give them full access to your, like it says full access here with Slava, you could give them full access as well. So you could both get into the transaction and add stuff and do stuff to the transaction.
And you could also share with your client. So very importantly, let's move to dates and info. You see all these questions here? They're very important. The way we answer will trigger the system to seek or not seek certain documents. So I usually go in order, just because it's easier. When did the listing take place? When does it expire? I'm just making up dates here. What type of a property is this important to select? See, that's where land comes. Or into a house. And then what is the form of ownership? Again, this selection will be very important, because if you select short sale, all of a sudden the system will seek short sale pertaining documents. If you select builder new construction, all of a sudden the system is not going to ask for some documents that come into play in residential, regular transactions. So the way you select here will trigger, once again, the system to seek or not seek certain documents. This is a conventional resale. Same story here. Prior or after 1978, if you click yes, the system's going to ask for the lead-based paint. If you click no, it will not. So we're just waiting a moment to save. Okay. And then if there's a private pool, I'm gonna answer no right now, just so it's easier for us in the process of uploading and faster, so we do not keep you here long. But again, the way you answer here will make the documents tab require a document. There was one of our agents the other day, I was reviewing, there was they had selected septic system, but they didn't realize that. So in the documents asked for it, and they had asked for an exemption. There is no septic. And I went and corrected it for them, but it was just a mistake in clicking, which happens. So if you ever run into that, remember, go to your dates and info and fix the answer.
You can see down here, show them where the change is.
You could change anything until you submit this transaction to Stacy for final review and approval of your funding request. You could change absolutely anything. All right, we're almost there. It's really fast. It's very easy system. I mean, you could literally be relaxing on your sofa after a busy day and sit down, enjoy a cup of tea, and quickly go through this. See how it's asking me if someone's getting a referral. If you select yes, then the system's going to ask for that referral agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now, boom, I answered all the questions and dates and info is gray, which means everything's been satisfied and even told me I've done a good job. All right, now let's go to the Documents tab. So based on information so far, for the purpose of this listing that you have taken, these are the documents it's going to ask from you. The agency disclosure and election, the listing agreement, the affiliated businesses agreement, and the MLS printout. There are a couple of different ways for you to upload. You could go one by one by clicking on require now, or what I do, I think Stacy likes that too, a lot of agents find it easier, simply click on add document tab right here, and you could just put them all at the same time and then separate and place as you go. And I will show you what I mean by that now. So I'm going to click on add document, and these particular documents I'm going to find on my computer. So I'm going to click on upload a file. Now you could drop them straight from your downloads, or you could find them if they're saved in a folder in your computer. I'm going to go to desktop. Let me see what I've been working on recently. And I have some addendums, spuds. I have a purchase. Oh, there it is. There's a listing agreement. I'm going to select that. And forgive me, I need to move my script.
You can also drag it from there.
Yeah, that's true as well. Thank you, Stacy. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I would not be able to do anything without Stacy.
I doubt that.
Oh, I don't. Okay, so now I'm going to click on upload and attach. I'm going to just bring a couple more to kind of wrap this up. Let's see if I have an agency. I probably have an agency actually in the actual document. Maybe I should just, what should I just say? Maybe just pull something in general.
Yeah, just pull anything. We'll pretend what it is.
We'll pretend. All right, I'm just going to do the pool safety.
So you can continue to upload or attach another file, and you see how they separate themselves from where you uploaded them.
Yeah.
But you can add as many pages or all pages at the same time, and Slava will show you that.
Yeah, so if you're certain that these are all the pages pertaining to the listing, to the listing exclusive right to sell, you could just simply click over here, select all, and all of those will go up and it will be ready for creating a document and placing in the area designated for exclusive right to sell. Stacy, tell the agents, why do we require the exclusive right to sell, or so-called ER, and not exclusive agency? We see a lot of exclusive agency, and when I review, I usually send you a question. Did you mean to use exclusive agency?
Well, there's literally one line different between the ER, exclusive right to sell, and the exclusive agency. We like to use the exclusive right to sell because that gives our rights to our commission. However, if you use an EA agreement, exclusive agency, it gives the seller the right to sell the property themselves and not pay you a commission. Yeah. And it's literally one line difference in the ER versus the EA. And if you're not aware of that, we just wanted to make you aware that you can use an EA if that's what you want to do. We just want to make sure that you know what you're using.
Yes, because if in the event we have to fight for your commission, and trust me, this happens, we need to have the proper tools to do that successfully. Yes. If it's an EA and the seller has found their own buyer, we'll be at a loss.
Yeah.
So now you see how little they are. You can't really see a whole lot, but if you click on it, it's going to pop up on the right. You could zoom in and out. Come on, zoom out. That's my fault. Why am I not zooming out? Okay. Maybe I need a class on how to use my system. But anywho, you could select your pages. So I'm going to go ahead and select all pages pertaining to the exclusive right to sell. Actually, I'm glad that it zoomed in because I want to show you something. Page 2 of the exclusive right to sell. Very, very, very important. Let's say the commission area. See line 89, that is for total commission paid by the owner to the broker. So let's say you're representing yourself, or for some reason it's a charity you're doing of the year and you're not charging full commission. For some reason, you're just going to pay the buyer broker only and then to save money
DeLex.
for the seller. On here, you have to put in also your broker fee. So if it's, let's say, right in here, out of this, you're paying 3% to the buyer broker, then you're going to add this like plus, and you're going to put in the broker fee. Or if, let's say, you explain it to the seller that, okay, it's the total commission paid to me, but out of that, I'm going to pay 3% to the other. And for me, I'm just going to keep 1,000, whatever. That's how you're going to structure it, because the total commission goes on here. Total commission goes to you. In the event the buyer is unrepresented, that commission goes to you because it's commission paid to DeLex Realty. What you pay to co-op brokers goes below here. So it could be a percentage or a dollar amount. Did I say that confusing? I'm sorry. I did not mean to.
You got it. I think
I did not mean to confuse. But if you read right here, it says owner agrees to pay broker a total commission of, so it goes here. And then if you read the language on co-op brokers, it's going to say that broker intends to cooperate and will pay. So whatever you put on the MLS that you're paying the buyer broker goes here. And that's what you pay, or what DeLex Realty will pay out of the total commission. So just one thing I wanted to highlight. All right, I think I've got them all selected. So I'm going to create document, and the system's going to kick me back to all these needed documents. And now all I need to find is the exclusive right to sell, which is right here. If I cannot find it, I can just search titles right here, and then it's going to narrow down for me.
Plus they'll be highlighted in yellow, obviously. That's
required.
what you needed. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I've selected that, and it's going to ask me to save the document and quit. If that's all you had to upload, that's where you click. But because there's more waiting, the system knows, and it's going to give you the other option, save and add another. So that's where we're going to click today, and we're going to continue adding documents that are needed at this page that we have uploaded. So go back and see how it already tells me what I've used. I'm going to click on the next one. Here is the agency. One thing I'm going to point out once again, you guys, when you have an agency with buyer or seller, you complete it accordingly. If you represent the buyer, you only will make selections in the buyer election. If you represent the seller, like in this case, you will only mark in the seller election. So in this particular instance, since it's a listing, it's the seller, and it's always 41, 42, and then 45. What I see sometimes is agents will check seller here, and then they'll see the name seller here and check it there. But that's wrong, because again, this is for buyers only, and this is for sellers only. So we select accordingly. All right. So I'm satisfied with this document. I'm going to click add a page. It's going to go up in this field again, and then boom, create document. And now all I need to do is locate where my agency disclosure and election is, right here. I'll select it and then save and add another. And
once you get this down, folks, it's super fast and super easy.
It truly is. So one of the documents that it's needed right now, it's the one that I mentioned earlier and highlighted in our documents by DeLex. That is the affiliated businesses disclosure. Here it is. So I'm going to add a page, go back to create document, and then hop, it's right here. And I'm going to click it. I'm going to save and add another, because I know there's one more document I need to upload for this part of the transaction to be completely done. And that is the MLS printout signed by the seller. And by that, we want the printout with private remarks. So we want all the information below, commissions, whatever private remarks are in place. So private remarks. Now, if you use the profile sheet, you can upload that. I feel like I personally like to see the MLS printout, because I think it gives a better idea of what really is on the MLS, especially in the event there's a picture where they're signing it, because it gives us an opportunity to reach out to you and get that taken care of before somebody files a violation report. So I'm going to pretend that that particular document is this page. And again, if you're going to go with the MLS printout, always the printout with private remarks signed by the seller. I'm going to create document. And then, where is it? Oh, there it is. Boom. And then I believe I've done everything. So then I'm just going to click on return to transaction documents. And look, There's no orange tabs anymore. I've put everything on file. It tells you exactly when, how many pages, by whom, by the way. If you go to notes in history, if this was done by your TC, this would be your TC's face and information. If I've gone in the file and reviewed or made remarks, my face will be there and will tell you exactly at what time it was done. When Stacy sends the funding request to you and to title, that would be right here as well. You're seeing her beautiful face, and it's going to show exactly at what time she had sent the email to you and to the title company. So what else was I going to show? Oh yeah, in I'll go back to documents. When it's on file and not reviewed, it's going to say on file. When it's been approved, this bar will highlight green and it will say approved. When it's denied or rejected for some reason, it will be red and it will say so. And usually there will be a note explaining. For instance, maybe you forgot to check mark line 42 in the agency, so it will say line 42 missing or something. So you will always put an explanation. If it's confusing, reach out, call us. Sometimes could be just a question such as, did you mean to use the exclusive agency? I just want to know, because if you did, that's great. But if you didn't, we may want to correct it ahead of time. All right. So now we've been listed. It's crazy market out there. Everybody's putting offers like nuts, and we're already under contract because right now homes like this one sell within the second. So we're going to move our transaction to contract mode.
I love this part because it actually then highlights everything that you need to do again in orange.
It's really cool. Happy to announce DConnect. Boom. Isn't that fantastic?
That is great.
Whoa.
So, this is awesome. So you can definitely, I mean, why wouldn't you have somebody reach out to your clients and put on the utilities for them? Most of the time they forget to do it anyways.
Yes.
And you forget to remind them. So now you have somebody else to help them remind you to remind them.
It's amazing the layers of the system and how easy it is, and it makes our life easier. I mean, you could literally plug in your expenses. We haven't even gone in that tab, but you could literally plug in your expenses for this transaction for, tax purposes, of course, and you have the checklist here as well. I mean, it's just so amazing with everything. It's just pleasing to the eye. All right, so now we're under contract, and look at this. Boom, boom, boom. We have 3 highlighted in orange tabs. That means they need information. We go in order once again, contacts. Now it's gonna ask us who the buyer is. Make up a name here, buyer, and add it. And then it's gonna ask us for the agent. I'm gonna make up an agent.
Just put me in there.
Well, I already did just my partner. I don't want to do a dual agency.
There you go, Joe Smith buyer. He popped up.
Well, because, Joe Smith, I'm sure.
But that's nice to know. So when you guys are adding all the information on an agent, it'll ask you if you want to put this in the community or if you just want to save it to your personal. If you put it in the community, then other agents that are working with that particular agent, it'll pop up like this. And if you add it, then it'll go in there so everybody can use it.
Yes. So
it doesn't ask you, it doesn't ask you for the title company, but please remember to put that in right away too, because what'll happen is when you get to do your CDA, if that information isn't in there, then I can't send it out. And double check your email addresses, because a lot of times they're incorrect and then they're not getting the CDAs that I send out.
The other thing I've noticed is these title people, they move from company to company. So you may, and you will see a lot of them are already remembered by the system. So when just like right this second, I put Shannon Pels right away. I got her information because she's been entered so many times, right? But sometimes Shannon Pels might have worked for security title or landmark title, etc. Make sure you select the proper entry, because the system will remember previous entries. And I've seen that happen with escrow people. All right, so look at how beautiful that looks. Again, for vendor, you could, if there's a payout at the end, money goes to, I don't know, Old Republic or a contractor for something, add it in here. We could, because then it will be easy to be put into the funding request, and we'll give proper instructions to title to make it easy. If there's, of course, a coordinator, that person will go on here. If there's another buyer agent, that name goes here. Same with if you want to add a buyer. So it's really cool, multi-layered system that gives you opportunity to put everything to perfection. So the next step will be dates and info. Once again, important questions that have to be answered properly. If there's an error, you can go back and fix it. So when was it contract executed? Today, oh my God, right? Same day. That's what happens right now. How long is the inspection period? I'll put 10 days. Okay, closing date, I'm gonna put December 30th. See how it asks you, is the buyer's agent also a member of your brokerage? If you say yes, the system will right away ask you for consent to limited representation. If you say no, it will not. What is the price? Stacy, what was the price of this listing? $279.
Close enough.
No. What type of financing? In here, again, you could do cash, you could do seller financing. Of course, if you select that, the system's going to ask for the seller financing addendum. You just select accordingly. I'm going to just click on conventional loan. And now everything's answered. And
Show them where they could change the price, because that's what we're seeing a lot of. So let's say the appraisal didn't come in, which we're seeing a lot of as well. Right here, you see that change button. You can go in there, and if you have to alter the price, you can change it there.
You can do that before close of escrow, because if you forget to do that and submit the transaction, title will kick back your funding request. Yep. So, and if you're on the road, or we're on the road, or it's the 11th hour, trust me, so many things happen at this like 4:59 p.m. where we're like scrambling to get it done so title can send a runner for you for next day. So make sure you do that prior to sending your funding request. Same thing with the close of escrow date. If it changes, which happens all the time. Sometimes people agree to close earlier, sometimes happens to be a delay. Correct that before you submit your funding request. All right, we're gonna now go to the documents. There's 7 more documents for us to upload. I'm gonna start uploading just like I did previously. In the process, we'll also show you how to upload a document that needs an alternative name, maybe a court order. That's what I usually do, or something, some form of amendment that you would look at this list and you'd be like, oh my God, I do not have that option. You have all the options of the world here. So I'll click on add document.
While she's uploading documents, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
No.
All right. Thank you, Helen. You're on fire today.
Again, it's really easy. Like I said, you can click on the contracts, you can drag them, however you want us to put the documents in here. It's pretty easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
What else can we talk about? Your CDAs, when we get to that point, we'll get there as well. But yeah, I do all the CDAs. So I try to do them 2 to 3 times a day, usually first thing in the morning, then usually in the afternoon. And I try to get them done one more time before 6. And then if I don't do it after 5, they'll be done before 5 a.m. Trust me, I'm up really early. So they'll get out there before anybody has time to do anything with it. If you need help with your CDA, just reach out to me, call me. I'll walk you through how to do it. What are you doing there? So I was selecting all kinds of stuff.
I'm just selecting pages. I just want to have pages if I get in my creative mode, you never know with me. You never know with me. Okay. All right. So let's wait for those to pop up. But yeah, if you want to get paid on time, process that CDA, the day, I would say at least the day prior, because Stacy's up at like 4 a.m. So often you see the email come out super early in the morning.
If you don't get a copy of it, you need to reach out to me because I send it to the title company and to you at the exact same time.
Yes.
And so if you are missing it or did not receive it, double check your email, make sure your email is not being blocked for some reason with back agent. That happens sometimes. And we'll just send it out again or just shoot me a text or an email.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So now I'm going to go ahead and select the contract. Again, I could select all pages if I'm confident that's all, or I can just go page by page. What we're going to do is we always want to select the purchase contract along with all offers, counter offers pertaining to this file. So here I see one counter offer. I will include it with the purchase contract. Now, if you just upload the contract and you forget to do the counter, you could upload the counter separately, and I'll show you how to do that. But ideally, we want them all together because it's easier for us when we're reviewing to trace down any errors, any commission language that's not supposed to be there. So it just makes the process a little easier for us. So this is the contract with counter 1. I'm gonna create document, and I'm gonna look for the purchase contract. It's right here.
And if you notice that you had scanned your documents out of order, that's okay, because you can still pick them and put them in order in the system.
Yes, you can. Like, I'll show you real quick. So if this is, let's say, page 2, not page 1, and this is page 1, you could just go first. Oh, this is page 1. Wow. Okay, page 1. Oh, I mean, this is page 2. Okay. And then you could arrange them in the order you want. You could also flip pages by clicking here. So if they come crooked or rotated wrongly, you could correct them and straighten them out right by clicking on flip pages.
Yep.
So it just allows you to get your file look perfect. I tell you, when we review and the pages are upside down, it's really hard to read. Like, sometimes I just reattach and go and flip for you because I cannot, like, I'm not designed that way, thank God. But now to pretend for a moment that, let's say this is counter 2 and I forgot to add it, I will select page. We'll go up here. And then I look for counter. And if I cannot see counter, because it's supposed to be contract with counter, so we don't have a designated slot for just counter, I can simply select one of these amendment options. Like, I'll go with other collateral and I will say counter 2. And this you could do with anything. You could change it to be power of attorney, change it court order, change it to amendment to extend close of escrow, although there is designated area for that, but you could change it to anything the document is. If you do, if you have different addendums, you could even go further by saying addendum 1, and then you could add change of purchase price or credit to buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And please do that, because it's really hard when agent uploads and just selects other collateral or other amendment, and then you click on it and it's neither. It's just some other document. It's so confusing. Yeah. So what else? Oh, prequal. Now, when there's a loan and you use the AR purchase contract, prequal form pertains, and in particular the AAR prequal form, because the contract, it's the very first sentence of section 2 financing. It says that both parties agree that AR prequal is part of the contract. So make sure you get that prequal. If a lender is resistant, point out the contract to them, because they're putting the buyer in jeopardy if they do not provide it. It has to be also signed at the bottom, not at the top. At the top is in different situations when the buyer has not consulted with the lender. At the top is when the buyer has consulted with the lender and the buyer is pre-qualified. So,
any questions so far?
Not yet.
All right.
well, that's how we are here. We're smart at DeLex Realty. I'm gonna pretend this little addendum here is my earnest money. So I will also show how to do an exemption here in a little bit. Let's see, I will pretend this is the insurance history claims report. If the property does not have insurance history claims report for whatever reason, the seller could write a letter to that matter, such as, oh, I do have insurance, but I have not made any claims. Signed, dated, sufficient. Or I own this property free and clear, I've never had insurance. Signed, dated by the seller, that's sufficient. That's all you need to upload.
The one thing that we will not allow an exemption for is the 5-year claim history report.
Mm-hmm.
If for some reason you can't get it, or you've asked for it and you can't get it, you can either upload the email from the other agent saying I've requested it, can't get it, or you'll have to upload a document with the facts that what it says. It won't allow you to exempt it, so you have to upload something.
Yeah, if the buyer was put in position to waive it, make sure the buyer signs the waiver we have in the documents section of back agent. Same for the SPUDs. SPUDs is really, really important document, as disclosure is also seller, both parties, but in this particular instance, the seller's obligation by Arizona law. So if the seller will refuse to provide SPUDs, make your buyer sign the buyer waiver that we have provided for you. What else? I'm just like randomly just uploading to conclude this so we can move to the next step. Wire scam. Now, let's see. I think we got everything, Stace.
I think you were missing the Binzer.
Well, I don't want to put the Binzer because I want to exempt.
Okay.
Let's see. Is that the only thing that's waiting for me? Oh, yeah. So I've done good. Okay, I'm going to go back to transaction documents. So sometimes buyers do not submit a Binzer. And when the buyer does not submit a Binzer, according to the contract, means that the buyer accepts the property in its condition and
they're moving forward.
Yeah, and they're moving forward in its as is condition, right? So for such reason, we're going to click on require now, if that's and then we're going to ask for exemption, and we're going to say buyer number. Whenever you seek an exemption for a document, make sure you explain why, so we know, and we could approve it right away. If it doesn't make sense, then we may reject it. Binzer is not a required document. It's something we want to see, but hey, if you represent the seller and the buyer doesn't submit, good for you, good for your seller, So here we go, everything's on file. And again, when we approve, this will all be green. So see the prelim? That is recommended. It's good to upload, but you don't have to. So final HUD comes up often. That's after close of escrow. So you do not need to do anything with the final HUD until after close of escrow. In other words, after you get paid. So you do not need this document to proceed towards submitting your funding request, which is what we're going to do now. But before we do that, I want to just show you one other feature of this amazing system. Let's presume for a moment that the wire scam alert was actually not signed by the buyer or seller either. You click on where it says on file, and then you see this option, send for e-signature. You could send it for electronic signature straight from this system. So it's really, really a great option for you.
I love that.
All right, so now I'm getting ready to get paid. It's time to close this deal. I'm gonna click on pre-closing mode because I've done such an excellent job of answering questions and uploading everything on time. The only outstanding item here is a question under dates and info. It's gonna ask us when the close of escrow is held. If it's on the day entered or earlier, it will not ask you for anything. But if it is later than the originally put in date, it's going to ask you for amendment to extend close of escrow. There we go. And now the submit button is yellow. This is the indication that you're good to go. If items were missing and you click on the submit button, a window will pop up and it will tell you what you're missing. So the system always tells you what you need to do. So now we're going to click on the submit button, and then we're going to follow accordingly. Create request. This is that very important invoice page. You represent the seller in this transaction. Over here on sales commission, you put only your commission. Do not put the buyer broker's commission. So let's say it was, 20,000 total, 10 for you and 10 for the other agent. Here, you're just gonna put yours. If there is an additional income, such as maybe a transaction fee or a bonus that you're receiving, you can put it right over here. I'm just making up numbers. If you had a partner, like I have here a partner, my partner's fee will go here. If there's a payout, let's say contribution to the buyer for their, let's say, home warranty, that will go on here. And accordingly, you could use this drop down to select different options here. If there's a referral, that will go on here. And you could just put whatever that number is. And if you and your partner are splitting even, you can, you could fix that here. So I would say crunch the numbers, write them down, and then plug them in accordingly in here. If there's an error, you could always call us, we'll help you. But that's how the system goes. It's really easy. And once Stacy gets it on her end, if there's a mistake with the transaction fee or anything, she will fix that for you.
So the comment box is very, very important. You guys need to tell me what you want to do with your commission so I can relay that to the title company. If you want to pick it up, if you want it couried to your house, if you want it wired, you just need to leave me the information in the comments so that I can copy and paste it and send it to title.
Yes, correct. It really, really helps. If this was a rental transaction, same thing. Tell us what you want to do, because otherwise Stacy would just mail it to you. In this particular case, it is a sale, and you will select on table funding because you want to pay it right away. If you select standard funding, then the check will come to us first, and then we have to cut for you. And because our goal is to get you paid immediately, table funding, we make sure everything is good here. Then you will create, what am I missing? Payouts. What am I missing? Oh, I forgot to do here. It tells you everything. And you do not stop here, please. A lot of times agents stop here. No, you have to click on continue to next step, answer all these important questions. And why you have to answer, some agents feel bothered by it, but I tell you it's important because it helps you verify and make sure that everything is entered accordingly. And then this is it, submit transaction. Once you're 100% certain everything's good, you submit this transaction. Once you submit this transaction, Stacy and myself, we will receive an email, and then it will be in our tasks. And there it is. And then we'll review it. And this is Stacy's nightmare. It's been reviewed. Yes. No,
well, we have a feeling that something might be late then if we're at this point.
Yes, that's when we know this files was just turned in at the 11th hour. And of course we have a magic button where we could approve them all at once, but that's not how we do it because we actually have to review it. I'm just showing you what Stacy does on the back end, so you kind of have a visual of her work.
A lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It is a lot, but here it is. So here now she can actually see this, and she'll be like I had to call an agent. I was doing a CDA the other day and had to call an agent. I'm like, did you guys mean to do this 50-50 or is this your split? Just to verify. Usually we'll just trust you and go ahead and approve it as entered in here. A lot of times it could be a mistake, and then title gets back to us and tell us something's missing. So we simply send it back to you for you to put it the way it's supposed to be, because you know your transaction better than anyone here. So what happens at this stage is once we verify everything looks great, there are no late fees in your balance, which if they are, we'll put them in. Stacy will grab whatever instructions you've left for her. If there's no instructions, she will just put in our standard verbiage, which is agents can get paid from escrow. Please reach out to agent right away, blah, blah, blah. That's our language, specifies where the DeLex check goes. She'll initial it. She will authorize it. She will create it. And then this is where I just want to show you this, because a lot of times agents think that the email with the approved funding request will have your name and the title name in one email. It doesn't. It comes from the system. We click on send. We click the title agent. We click whatever. Where is the, oh my God, no, I'm the agent. Oh my God, I'm the agent. And then we'll, once again, Stacy, copy paste your instructions and send.
And then we'll send it.
But sometimes we send it and then there are cancellations at the 11th hour. What do we do then? And you usually will have to reach out to us so we can call back your file. So we'll go back from submitted. You cannot do that, only we can do that for you, the brokers. and we can send it back to you. So we'll send it back to you. We do that also when there are errors and you need us to send it back, which by the way, one of the agents just texted me once that. And now we have to cancel this file because the buyer backed out at the 11th hour, but we want to keep the listing on. So here's how we do. We go back to the summary tab. Come on. And then you see this cancel transaction verbiage right under the submit button. It's kind of tricky, yeah? Well, that's where you're gonna click, and then you select accordingly, read carefully. I have an executed contract to terminate, or no, I just need to cancel this transaction. Well, in this case, you have an executed contract to terminate. Then the second step, yes, I need to terminate the listing agreement, or no, I just need to cancel this transaction. Well, if you need to terminate the listing agreement, yeah, you click here, but in this case, you don't. The listing is still live and active, and you just need to restart the transaction. So you're gonna say, no, I need to cancel. And this is just a bit tricky here. In this particular case, your answer is yes, I want to restart the transaction. What this will do is restart the listing part of the transaction only, and it will set the contract part in termination mode. If it was a buyer, if this was a buyer, you would have selected here because there's really nothing to restart. So now when you click begin termination, there it is. This is under termination. If you click on active transactions, you will see now a second one pops up, and that's the restarted one with everything already on file, good to go, ready for the next contract to be
Look
sent.
at that, Slava. It popped out approved this time.
I noticed too. We're constantly trying to better the system, so we get emotional.
I got excited.
I know, we get excited because we've been working on this particular element in a long time.
So with this file, when it is canceled like this, in your termination file, you will, if you canceled it and you don't have a lot of the documents that you need in there, you could just request an exemption and put canceled in there. However, the two documents that you will need is how it terminated, whether it's the BINSR, whether it's the loan denial, whatever it is, you're gonna notice how, put that in there, and the release of earnest money. The release of earnest money must come from title. So that's how the ADRE requires us to put it in there. So make sure you get those two in. Then you'll hit submit like normal and create it, and I can go in and file it as terminated.
Yeah, so in this case, if we presume it was the BINSR, you could actually go in here and either reattach it, either do an exemption and say BINSR already on file. Or you could even be a little more specific and say cancel via BINSR on file, which I want to see, but still I will understand that. And then the release of earnest money. Sometimes agents exempt and say, oh, it was released to the buyer, released to the seller. We want to see the actual document from title. Yeah, it will be a PDF or it will be in a body of an email. So that's that. Now, any questions?
No, not really.
Awesome.
Stacy, anything I'm missing
I
here?
don't think so. You did great, Slava.
Oh, you did great. You did great.
I think we've recorded this, so it'll be available on our YouTube channel. So if you have questions or you're not sure, if you can't reach us for some reason, which is rare, you can always just call us and we'll walk you through it. Slava and I are pretty robust on the system, so we can usually do it from our phone. But again, you can always look at the YouTube channel.